Hello, my Bill 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. All right, we are back with another lazy masquerade. This one is titled Cases with Disturbing Video Evidence. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's story. Go ahead, turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, call up with someone special. Let's get a little creeped out. I don't know why I was talking like that. I really don't. It's been a weird fucking day, people. Let's do it.
Do you find yourself scrolling through YouTube late at night, looking for some new, unsettling content to enjoy?
Yeah.
Well, look no further than Haunt TV, a channel that's all about the paranormal. Haunt TV's investigators explore and document some of the world's most haunted locations, from abandoned asylums to cursed homes. Using advanced equipment and techniques, they capture evidence of ghostly activities and bring you along for the ride. By subscribing to their channel, you'll get access to exclusive, full-length paranormal shows like Paranormal Survivor, Bogeymen, and Haunting Australia, as well as live streams of investigations that are bound to fuel your nightmares.
Okay.
Let the hunt begin for poltergeists, phantoms, and lost souls. Haunt TV pierces the veil and brings the darkness into light.
I can hear something.
Point Star Lighthouse.
He wants revenge.
Brace yourself for ultimate terror. Watch more on Haunt TV YouTube.
Don't miss out on this opportunity to immerse yourself in the
This
world
is
of the
pretty
paranormal.
cool. Okay.
Check out Haunt TV on YouTube today via the link in my description, and start watching hundreds of chilling paranormal shows for free. Thanks Haunt TV for sponsoring today's video.
Yeah. That seemed pretty cool. I might have to check that out. I love.
They say
like
that hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned, and this first case is a testament to that. With evidence caught on a Ring doorbell camera, this is the story of Austin's fatal love triangle. 25-year-old athlete and Dartmouth graduate Anna Mariah Wilson, or Mo as she preferred to be called, was a former downhill skier turned world-class pro gravel racer. She took up professional cycling in 2019, and by 2021 was already dominating pretty much every race she took part in. No surprise, given that she came from a family of athletes. Vivacious, successful, yet still humble, Mo spent her free time cooking, writing and travelling. She particularly loved Italy, Taco Tuesdays, maple creamies, and playing Settlers of Catan with friends.
Don't we fucking all? Damn.
In October of 2021, Mo won her first big race in Brentonville, Arkansas, the 103.8-mile Big Sugar. It was while celebrating that evening that she met an admirer, Caitlin Cash, a fellow female rider who had been following Mo's career with interest. The pair quickly became good friends, and within a few weeks, Mo was frequently crashing at Cash's house on Maple Avenue, Austin.
Okay.
The pair spent most evenings discussing upcoming races over home-cooked meals. It was during that time that Mo's career really began to take off, with her winning almost every single big race that she took part in. Gravel Hugger Rock Cobbler, Sea Otter, the Belgian Waffle Ride.
Damn.
Mo was quickly making a name for herself.
I know. I just said damn like I know what he was talking about, and I actually really have no fucking clue. I really don't. I know nothing about bicycling. I know how to ride a bike. I know how to ride a bike quite well, actually. I can even do a couple tricks. Probably not no more. I'm old. I used to be able. There we go. I used to know how to ride a bike. And if you listen to what they say, you know, never forget how to ride a bike. But, you know, I ain't trying. And I used to be able to do tricks. I mean, I wouldn't say I was excellent and the tricks were shitty at best, but I could do it. And I was proud of it.
In the world of professional cycling. A rising star in the prime of her life. A real force to be reckoned with on the track. The bookie's favourite in near most every race she participated in. But it was while her candle was burning brightest that it would, sadly, be extinguished.
Damn.
That autumn, at a race in the Rocky Mountains surrounding Ketchum, Mo met fellow pro cyclist Colin Strickland. The American gravel racer community is said to be small and closely knit, with members often lending each other a helping hand and looking out for one another. In this sea of friendly faces, Colin stood out to Mo as one of the nicest and most charming. He helped Mo get several sponsorship deals and described her as the best female cyclist in the country and possibly the world. The pair had a brief romantic relationship that lasted until the end of the season. Text messages shared between the two later showed that by January, the couple were on a break. They did, however, remain good friends and often met to go riding. Now, it's not unusual for young relationships to fizzle out for one reason or another.
Yeah.
But in most cases, the consequences of those relationships.
Well, that, and they're also kind of like competitors, because, I mean, they're both trying to win the race, right? So, I mean, sure, that's going to get a little in the way, too.
Aren't fatal.
True. Most of them aren't
In May
fatal.
2022, Mo was back in Austin, and once again, staying at Cash's place on Maple
Oh, shit, so this is within the past year? Oh, fuck.
Avenue, preparing for Gravel Locos, a big race in nearby Hyco. On the warm, spring evening of May 11th, Mo went out for a swim with Colin, with whom she was still in regular contact.
Okay.
After a dip in nearby Deep Eddy Pool, the pair had dinner together at a local burger joint. Colin dropped Mo back at the house at
Burger King.
8:24 p.m, by which point Cash had already gone out for dinner with a group of friends. When Cash returned at 10 p.m. that night, she found the front door unlocked, and after entering, was greeted with silence. That was odd. An app on her phone had alerted her that her front door had unlocked at around 8:30 p.m.
Oh, shit.
With furrowed brow, Cash pushed open the door to the bathroom and turned on the light. Sprawled out on the floor in front of her was her best friend, Mo Wilson, covered in blood and completely unresponsive. As her autopsy would later reveal, she had been shot twice in the head, and then once again in the chest after
What?
she had collapsed onto her back.
Like execution, like, did she piss off the wrong people? Did she owe money? Was she owned by the mob? This sounds like a hit.
The rounds used to end her life had been 9mm jags, which break apart on impact, causing
Yeah.
devastating damage.
Yeah.
Only one thing was missing from the house: Mo's bike. It was found tossed in a bamboo grove, just 68 feet from the house's entrance.
That's weird.
Since there weren't any signs of a forced entry, the authorities immediately paid a visit to the prime suspect, Colin Strickland, the person who had last seen Mo alive. He denied ever entering Cash's home after dropping Mo off that night. After investigators reviewed footage from Cash's Ring surveillance camera, it was clear he was telling the truth. That footage showed Colin dropping Mo off and then leaving on his motorcycle. But that same footage went on to reveal something else. Just 2 minutes after Colin departed from the scene, a black Jeep Grand Cherokee with a bike rack on the back drove past Cash's house. The vehicle was quickly identified. It belonged to a 34-year-old woman named Caitlin Armstrong, a cyclist, a yoga teacher, a licensed realtor, and also the long-time living girlfriend of Colin Strickland.
Oh, fuck.
He and Caitlin had been together since 2019. They had built a business together, shared an apartment, the whole shebang. They were quite different people, but they supported each other. However, in late October of 2021, around the time when he met Mo, Colin ended his relationship with Caitlin, saying that she deserved someone better. Just a few short days later, he began dating Mo. Not the classiest of moves, but he had at least officially ended things with Caitlin instead of
Yeah.
sneaking around behind her back.
Yeah.
When news of Colin's new romance reached Caitlin, though, she contacted Mo directly and told her to back off. In fact, she called her so many times that Mo blocked her number. Time passed. Caitlin stewed in her
Damn.
jealousy, and Colin and Mo decided to remain just friends. By
Yeah.
January of 2022, Colin and Caitlin had rekindled their relationship. Things were as they once were. Except they weren't. Behind Caitlin's back, and against her wishes, Colin continued seeing Mo. It's yet to be confirmed whether the two of them were still involved romantically, or if they were just meeting up platonically. But whatever the case, Colin obviously knew he was doing something he shouldn't be. He had saved Mo's number under a different name in his phone, and strategically deleted text messages so Caitlin would never know that they were still in contact. After all, what she didn't know wouldn't hurt her.
That's
right?
shitty.
Trouble was, Caitlin
Might not hurt her, but it sounds like it might have killed them.
found out. According to the authorities, she learned that Colin was going for a swim with Mo on May 11th after looking through his laptop, which he had accidentally left open on his countertop. Mo had sent Colin a message that morning, saying, "Hey, so I'd like to talk to you at some point. I'd originally texted you on Friday, but it appears my texts aren't going through again. This weekend was strange for me, and I just want to know what's going on. If you just want to be friends, which seems to be the case, then that's cool, but I'd like to talk about it. 'Cause honestly, my mind's been going in circles, and I don't know what to think." Colin then set up a rendezvous for later that day. The pair of them swam and ate burgers, completely unaware that a scorned Caitlin was following them, watching them from a distance.
What?
She trailed them back to Cash's home, and, after Colin was gone, wasted no time in exacting her revenge. We don't know yet how Caitlin gained access to the building. Either Mo had left the front door unlocked, or she had let Caitlin in to talk things over, or she had assumed that it was Colin ringing the doorbell. We also don't know if any words were exchanged between the two women, or if Mo was caught completely off guard by her killer. All we can say with certainty is that in a fit of jealous rage, Caitlin fired 3 shots into her love rival. Rather than blame her potentially cheating partner, she chose to blame the other woman. And instead of walking away, she chose vengeance. The ring camera footage was damning enough, but on top of that, a friend of Caitlin's also called in a tip to the authorities. Apparently, days before the killing took place, Caitlin had confessed to this friend that Colin's fling with Mo had angered her greatly. This friend advised Caitlin to simply dump Colin and move on.
Right?
Caitlin explained that she and Colin were now in a much better place, but that if Mo ever got between them again, she would kill her. Caitlin also admitted that she had obtained a Sig Sauer P365, and that she'd been going to the firing range with her sister to learn how to use it. This friend didn't take Caitlin's words too seriously, but once news of Mo's slaughter became public, she immediately knew who had pulled the trigger. Officers picked Caitlin up the day after Mo's slaying on an unrelated warrant out for her. She had apparently gotten Botox surgery several months prior and run off without paying. During her initial interrogation, detectives noted that Caitlin was, quote, very still and didn't move at all. She remained silent when shown this video of her vehicle passing the crime scene minutes before Mo's life was taken. She refused to opine on why a spent shell casing from her 9mm matched perfectly with the shells at the scene. When questioned about the secret relationship between Colin and Mo, she apparently turned her head and rolled her eyes in an angry manner. She mostly referred to Mo as that girl. Not only was Caitlin giving off all the telltale signs of guilt, but there was a monumental amount of evidence against her. It was clear to the investigators that they were talking with Mo's killer. However, during that same interview session, it came to light that the arrest warrant wasn't valid. Somebody had filled in the wrong date of birth. Because of that, they had to let Caitlin walk free. The following day, she sold her black Jeep Grand Cherokee, and before the authorities could re-arrest her, she went on the run, disappearing from their radar entirely. For the next month and a half, detectives worked tirelessly to track Caitlin Armstrong down and bring her to justice, but there was no trace of her anywhere. Eventually it came to light that their missing fugitive hadn't only fled the state, but had fled the country. Surveillance images captured at Newark International Airport on May 18th showed Caitlin boarding a flight bound for San Jose, Costa Rica. It's believed that she made use of her sister's identity and passport to escape the US. Thanks to a combined effort with the Costa Rican authorities, US investigators were able to pinpoint Caitlin's exact location. She was finally apprehended on June 29th, 2022, having spent 43 days on the run. As it turned out, Caitlin had managed to make her way down to Santa Teresa Beach, a historical hideaway for people who wanted to disappear completely. There, she had reportedly undergone plastic surgery and drastically altered her appearance.
Good God.
She had then spent the better part
This motherfucker's watched a little too many fucking movies. Oh, sweet lord.
of a month bouncing between hostels, checking in using a variety of different aliases. Yet, despite her best efforts, she had been unable to outrun her pursuers. With dyed hair, a bandaged nose, and discoloured eyes, she tried to convince her arresting officers that she wasn't this Caitlin Armstrong they were looking for. But, realizing that the jig was up, soon gave up the act, and was extradited back to Texas. As it currently stands, Caitlin Armstrong has pled not guilty to Moe's homicide, and is being held on a $3.5 million bond in Travis County Jail. She claims that she fled the US and changed her appearance not because she was guilty, but because she was trying to hide from her murderous ex, Colin Strickland, the person actually responsible for Moe's demise. There's no evidence that that was the case. Caitlin's trial is set to begin on October 30th this year. No doubt, new details related to the incident will come to light then. As for Colin Strickland, he's remained mostly silent about this whole thing, though that hasn't stopped thousands of people online from voicing their opinions about him.
I mean, what if he
Many
did have
have
something to
taken
do
to
with
his
it?
social media accounts, saying that
What if he did have something to do with it, though, bro? Like, seriously, what if he did? Like, I understand it was her gun, but if he lived with her, it wouldn't be that difficult for him to, like, get a hold of it, you know?
he's indirectly responsible for what happened to Moe, that his lies were the spark that lit Caitlin's fuse, and that he is equally as guilty as her. Others have come to his defense, stating that even though Colin was cheating on Caitlin, he wasn't in any way responsible for her actions.
No.
The fact of the matter is that although being unfaithful isn't moral, it isn't against the law either.
And it's not something to murder over.
Even so, while Caitlin faces the consequences for her actions in a court of law, Colin will have to do the same in the court of public opinion. Mariah Wilson's life was short, but by all accounts, she lived it to the fullest, and her legacy continues to inspire others to take up cycling and lead a healthier life.
That's crazy. That is fucking crazy. Matt Flores.
26-year-old military officer and all-around nice guy, Matt Flores, was a young, ambitious man with a bright future ahead of him. Matt enjoyed his time serving in the US Army very much. The camaraderie, the adrenaline, the sense of adventure, and he had made quite the name for himself during Operation Desert Storm. But then 1994 came, and Matt's circumstances changed. His wife Denise had just given birth to their daughter, Danielle. For obvious reasons, Matt was eager to find a less hazardous job and spend more time with his loved ones.
Right.
After serving 4 years with the US Army, Matt was honorably discharged.
I just couldn't believe the amount of people here, the amount of support.
Just 1 month later, he landed his dream job at Applied Materials Incorporated, a computer company based in Silicon Valley. The early 90s was a time of huge technological advancement. The internet was beginning to be adopted by the masses, and as a result, computers were becoming both more sophisticated and accessible, and Matt was going to be a part of that exciting leap forward. With a spring in his step, he relocated to California with his wife and daughter. This was Matt's big opportunity, his chance to work a normal 9-to-5 job and provide for his family, far away from harm's reach. At least, that was the plan.
Oh God.
Each morning, Matt arrived for training at Building 12 of Applied Materials, located at 3225 Oakmead Village Drive, Santa Clara. His company planned on transferring him to Dallas, but first, Matt needed to complete several months of training. To help him commute, his new company had rented him a vehicle, a white Chevy Corsica. On March 24th, 1994, at precisely 8:12 a.m., Matt arrived for his 9th day of training at Applied Materials. He parked his Corsica in an unassigned space, like he always did. At 8:14 a.m., the sound of a loud pop rang out through the car park. The noise startled one of Matt's co-workers, a woman who was sitting in the car parked in front of his, listening to a radio program. She immediately turned around and saw a smartly dressed man slumped to the ground. She cautiously exited her vehicle and approached the man. He was frozen in the kneeling position, his head and shoulders slumped against his white car. A fountain of red liquid was pouring from the back of his skull. After a moment of confusion, the reality of the situation dawned on the woman, and she let out a bone-chilling scream. Approximately 20 people were in the car park at the time, and they all gathered to see what the commotion was about.
What?
"Help!" screamed the woman. "This man's been shot!"
Did he shoot himself? Did someone shoot him? Is it revenge from something he did? Oh, I got an eyelash in my eye and it hurts so bad. What is going on here, sir?
A senior employee named Gary Robertson picked up the lifeless victim's wallet and removed his driver's license. Gary instantly recognized the name and face on the ID. It was the man he had recently hired, Matt Flores, the young father who had relocated for a safer family life. Moments after exiting his vehicle, someone had fired a shot into the back of his head at point-blank range, ending his life instantly. For some inexplicable reason, though, it took the onlookers 11 minutes to call for an ambulance. They were all subsequently interviewed, and despite the incident occurring in broad daylight, none of them had gotten a look at the killer. In all likelihood, neither had Matt. From the very beginning, detectives had very few leads to work with. By all accounts, Matt was a well-liked, down-to-earth family man with no enemies to speak of.
But it could have been something from his military days, right? Like, we don't know.
As far as anyone knew, he didn't have a secret past, or a secret mistress, and he was always fair and respectful to others. His slaying seemed completely senseless and unprovoked. Since none of the employees saw the perp's face or heard their voice, detectives turned their attention to the parking lot's most credible witnesses: the security cameras. This surveillance footage has never been released to the public, but, according to the authorities, this is what it showed. 20 minutes before Matt arrived for work that morning, a two-door sports model Ford Explorer was caught on camera entering the parking lot. Seconds later, a white Ford Probe also entered. The Explorer appeared to follow the Probe for a short time, tailing it as if playing cat and mouse. After about a minute or so, the Ford Probe parked up, and the Explorer left the lot. At 8:11 a.m., just 1 minute before Matt arrived for work, the Explorer reappeared. The footage was too grainy to see the face of the driver or get a clear reading of the license plate, but regardless, the detectives watching the footage were filled with hope. Matt's slaying had no doubt been caught on camera, and in a few short moments, they'd see the face of the man or woman responsible. As the timestamp on the video hit 8:12 a.m., Matt's rented Corsica entered the lot, and the Explorer, which had seemingly been lying in wait, tailed him. The tape showed Matt driving to another section of the car park, pursued closely by his soon-to-be killer. He turned a corner, applied the brakes, and parked in a blind spot. In a cruel twist of fate, Matt had stopped his vehicle just outside the camera's field of view, and as a result, the event and the perpetrator weren't caught on tape.
What the fuck?
Just 20 seconds after Matt was slain, though, that same Ford Explorer was seen leaving the parking lot. To this day, neither the vehicle nor its driver have been tracked down. Since the footage was in black and white, the exact color of the Explorer remains unknown. all the authorities could deduce with certainty was that it wasn't black, white, dark blue, or dark green, and that the car had been manufactured between 1991 and 1994. It also had a distinct black trim along its lower panel. Based on this surveillance footage, the investigators believe that the individual behind the wheel of this car was actively searching for Matt that morning. It's suspected that the driver mistook the Ford Probe for Matt's vehicle, hence why they tailed it shortly before the incident. Some have speculated whether Matt's slaying was the result of road rage, and whether he had simply ticked off the wrong guy at the wrong time. Personally though, I don't see how that could be the case, given that the Ford Explorer arrived at the scene 20 whole minutes before Matt did. Others have suggested that Matt's slaying had something to do with his time in the military. 11 months prior to this incident, a fellow soldier who served under Matt, one Sergeant Nicholas Gange, mysteriously went AWOL, disappearing from his barracks and leaving behind his wallet and keys. 10 months later, and just 2 weeks before Matt's life was taken, Sergeant Gange's body was found in the woods, about a mile from the barracks he had vanished from. His COD has never been fully explained.
Fuck that, that's weird.
Curiously, Matt's military records also disappeared around the time of his untimely end. The Army's National Personnel Records Center couldn't locate his service file when asked to do so, stating they had either been removed, misplaced, or destroyed. Others still believe that Matt was taken out by his employers. A few months before Matt's life was taken, another employee at Applied Materials, Han Suk-young, also met with a grisly fate, stabbed in a motel room in Sunnyvale, just 1 mile from the company's headquarters. A 21-year-old nanny in New York later admitted to killing the man. However, some have speculated whether Han Suk-young's slaying was actually a hit, a way for the company to silence an outspoken employee who might have revealed some of their top-secret research. Which brings us to Matt. He'd been dispatched of with a single shot to the head. Some investigators, and indeed Matt's own mother, believe that this was the work of a professional. Could that explain why all 20 employees in the parking lot failed to note any details about either the perp or his vehicle, and why it took them 11 minutes to summon help? With that said, the organization Matt worked for, Applied Materials, seemed to be a run-of-the-mill tech company in Silicon Valley, involved in the manufacture of semiconductors. Not exactly the type of business where somebody would need silencing.
Right.
And besides, Matt was still in training at the time his life was taken, so even if his facility was involved in some top-secret tech production, he wouldn't have had much knowledge about it. According to the lead detective working the case, Matt's slaying had, in all likelihood, been a case of mistaken identity, with this killer holding a grudge against someone who drove a white Chevy Corsica. The car was a rental,
Regal.
and perhaps one that Applied Materials
Looks like an old school Buick Regal. A lot of cars looked the same back then.
had used before. Could the previous driver have been the intended target? Could the killer have mistaken Matt's Chevy for another? Or could there be some missing piece of the puzzle that the authorities haven't uncovered yet? Well, since no new information has been released to the public,
I think it's the military,
all
bro.
we can really do is speculate.
Not like our military killing him, but like whatever he did in the military, like someone came at him. I mean, if it was professionally done, you're not going to get professionally done by cutting someone off in the fucking middle of the road. You're not. That's some military shit, bro. That's some you left a witness that you shouldn't have left type shit.
Today, nearly 3 decades since his life was cruelly snuffed out,
Nothing.
the identity of Matt Slayer remains unknown. A $100,000 award is offered to anyone with information that would lead to his or her capture. "Whoever did this to him, I want them to know what they've taken," said Matt's wife, Denise. "1 minute, life was great. We had everything. And the next minute, it was shattered. I don't think Danielle even remembers him anymore. She was too little. I plan on showing her all the videos we have so that she knows what kind of a daddy she had. But she'll never know what it feels like for her daddy to hug her. I lost everything that day."
That's awful.
Matt Flores seemed like a genuinely nice guy with his whole future ahead of him. one which he should have been able to enjoy with his family.
Yeah.
And yet, that was taken away from him. Perhaps because he was in the wrong place, at the wrong time, in the wrong car. If that's true, then it goes to show that any one of us could, through no fault of our own, cross paths with the wrong person.
It's true.
And meet with a terrible fate on any given day.
It's
at
true.
any
Mistaken
given time.
identity. Mistaken identity
So
can
stay
happen at
safe
any
out
time.
there, and keep your wits about you.
Keep a gun loaded and ready to go. Fuck that shit. Keep a samurai sword in your trunk. That's what I do. What the fuck? That was fucked up, bud. That last one. It was military. He seen or did something in the military and they came back. He got him. 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 Alright, I really enjoyed that video. That was really good. Kept me. I was quiet. I know I was really quiet. But I really love stories like that. They immerse me, and it's hard for me to interrupt the process. I know I interrupt a lot. I usually have no problems with it. But I was in so just. Alright, I really enjoyed today's video. If you enjoyed today's video as much as I did, please go down there, leave a thumbs up. If you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange, deranged, think about subscribing. As always, be good to one another, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. I'm telling you, it was military. He seen something, he did something, he left a witness that he shouldn't have left. Yeah, I'm telling you, don't just take everyone.